I really believe strongly that Malaysia is worth fighting for, and I would do my best to be part of that future.
She was just a teenager when her father was arrested in 1998. As the eldest daughter of Anwar Ibrahim, Malaysia's former deputy minister turned opposition leader, Nurul Izzah Anwar has now taken over where her father left off. Anwar was the rising star of Malaysian politics in the mid-1990s, before falling out of favor with the then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad. Since then, he's been plagued by legal problems and has spent several years in prison after being convicted of corruption and sodomy charges. A conviction described by his daughter and many international organizations as being politically motivated.
I'm thankful for the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention for validating our assertions and position that he is a political prisoner. This was a politically motivated trial, and if he did not lead the opposition to win up to 52% of popular support last elections, he would not perhaps live his life in incarceration today.
Anwar is leading an opposition coalition, which represents a major threat to the ruling party. It's been in power since Malaysia's independence in 1957. With her father once again behind bars, Nurul Izzah is seen as one of the strongest opposition voices. Nurul Izzah has vowed to fight corruption, and this man, Prime Minister Najib Razak. Global investigators say hundreds of millions of dollars were deposited into the Prime Minister's personal bank accounts, and some suspect they came from the state investment fund called 1MDB. But Najib insists he's done nothing illegal, and Malaysia's Attorney General and Corruption Commission have cleared him. They say the money was a personal donation from the Saudi royal family. However, many of his critics, including the opposition, remain skeptical.
Yeah, I think something's amiss, to say the least. And as a Member of Parliament, it's been next to impossible to even get access to the Auditor General's report and investigations on the matter. So we're blinded, ostensibly by the Prime Minister, who controls all these agencies of governance. And we are only relying on the ongoing investigations of a money laundering scandal, which is the biggest in the world today.
Najib set up the 1MDB in 2009 when he came into office. The fund was supposed to turn around Malaysia's ailing economy. Weak commodity prices and a slowing Chinese economy have battered Malaysian markets. But the fund began to attract national attention as early as 2015, when it missed payments for the $11 billion it owed to banks and bondholders.
We need political reform, we need economic reform, we need independent anti-corruption agency and an independent police force. And as well, an independent judiciary to ensure whoever commits corruption will will be met with fairly and judiciously.
But corruption and an ailing economy are not the only problems facing the Southeast Asian nation. The rise of extremism is also seen as a major threat to the country's stability. In the past 2 years, hundreds of people have been arrested on terror charges, and the number of foreign fighters is the highest in the region.
If you talk about the statistics, the numbers of foreign fighters from Malaysia flying to the Daesh and ISIS regions are 6 times per capita more than Indonesia. And I think this should be a matter of concern. When I was detained last year, I was arrested overnight. I met with a fellow detainee. She was 14 and a half years old, and she was arrested en route to Syria to marry off an ISIS fighter. And I think it's really important. It's a problem that's afflicting Malaysia, and the government must transparently acknowledge this and work together with the opposition.
Malaysia has a population of about 31 million people, and approximately 250 fighters from Malaysia have joined Daesh in the Middle East. Contrast this with Indonesia, with a Muslim population of 300 million, and yet there are less than 400 fighters who have joined Daesh.
You see, when you have different religious scholars combining forces to make a clear narrative against terrorism, that's a good start. But at the same time, you're having strong laws to arrest, to silence terrorists. You cannot forget the counter-terrorism, the de-radicalization, the rehabilitation programs.
Christine Pirovolakis, The Newsmakers.